What's going on, everyone? It's Wesley back with you today with Core 4 Sports. Today we're doing our weekly college basketball rankings video. This week, our top 10 is as follows. We have Gonzaga, then we have Baylor, Michigan, then after Michigan we have Ohio State, Illinois, Houston, Virginia, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Villanova rounding out our top 10. This week, my team of the week is the Creighton Blue Jays. Creighton beat Georgetown and then beat Villanova on Saturday by 16. Creighton continues to play good basketball after kind of struggling after the beginning of the year, and they're kind of turning their season around at the right time. Creighton has now jumped into the top 15, and they're going to continue to climb if they keep winning games. I think Creighton is a real threat in the Big East if they can catch Villanova in a game or two, and especially a threat come Big East tournament time. And Creighton beating Villanova by 16 and beating a pretty decent Georgetown team is my team of the week for this week. As for my bum of the week, it's going to be Missouri. Missouri lost 2 games this week. They lost 80-59, a bad loss at Ole Miss. Then they lost 86-81 at Arkansas this past Saturday. Missouri has been trending like a roller coaster this year. They were going up for a week, then they were going right back down. They were going back up, and they're right back down. I think Missouri's going to be probably a 4 or 5 seed come March, and they have the potential to upset some teams and cause some chaos and some noise, but they're going to have to obviously play more consistent basketball, and losing by 21 to Ole Miss doesn't really set the tone of consistency. Next up, we have 3 new teams to the rankings. Kansas, who I predicted would win their game last week, did win it, and they are now 23rd. Then we have Arkansas, who's 24th and beat Missouri and have been pretty good this year, so they are now 24th. And San Diego State, who was really good last year, as we all remember, possibly a national title contender last year, obviously not the same team this year. They are sliding in at 25th this week. Now for a little standings update. I'm going to be going through the first place teams in each standing and telling you how close they are to number 2. Let's start off with the Big 12. Baylor is currently 2.5 games up on Oklahoma, and then you have a slew of teams right behind them. Then you have in the Big East, Villanova, who is up 2 games on Creighton, although there's a weird discrepancy as Creighton has played, I believe it is 4 more games than Villanova in the Big East schedule so far, so that's a weird thing to keep an eye on as the season winds down. Then in the Big Ten, it's a jumbled mess. At the top, you have Michigan, who is currently up half a game on Illinois and Ohio State, I believe, and then I think it's the rest of the field, including Iowa and Wisconsin, who are right then behind them. Then in USC, you have USC, who is up 1 game, I believe it is on UCLA. And then in the SEC, you have Alabama, who's starting to cruise a little bit after Missouri struggles, who is up 3 games on Missouri and Tennessee in the SEC. A couple teams to keep our eyes on this coming week. Iowa is up 4 spots after winning their games this week. Alabama is up 2 spots. They struggled a little bit earlier in the week against South Carolina. Game was kind of thrown away by South Carolina at the end. Can't really do much or turn too much blame on Alabama for that, though they did win, and that's all that matters. And then Oklahoma had probably the craziest one of the week. They beat West Virginia in double overtime on Saturday, and so Oklahoma moved up 3 spots back into the top 10. Another storyline to keep your eyes on is Texas Tech and Tennessee. Tennessee, as we identified last week, was already kind of on a downward trend. They're going to have to turn it around against LSU and Kentucky. They have to win both those games this week, especially when it comes to seeding time. I believe a loss to Kentucky is a bad loss, and that sounds weird to say, but I do think a loss to Kentucky is a bad loss on a resume at this point in the season. Next is Texas Tech. Texas Tech is down 8 spots. They lost to West Virginia this week. And that's the only game they played this week. They were 7th last week. Now they dropped to 15th in the country. This week they play TCU and Kansas. TCU should not be that hard of a game for this Texas Tech squad. And Kansas, they beat them already once. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think I might be picking that game later. I'm not sure. We'll see. But if I'm a Texas Tech fan, I really think that this team must win these 2 games if they want to be in a relevant conversation for a 3 or 4 seed come March. Lastly, before I get to my picks, I want to talk about Michigan. Michigan, as we all know, was off from COVID for about 2 to 3 weeks, and they came back and beat Wisconsin this past Sunday. They were on the road and they were down a bunch at halftime, but they came back and they were led by Hunter Dickinson. Hunter Dickinson is a freshman center, and he's just playing out of his mind for most of the season. He was struggling a little bit before Michigan went on their COVID pause, but yesterday he had 15 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 11 points, and he's not just scoring the ball, he's doing all the little things right, and he's kind of the glue that's holding that Michigan team together, I think. I think with him at the center, they're able to spread the floor more with their other 4 players that are on the floor, and it's just leading to more success for Michigan, and I think he's one of the key reasons why they're having so much success this year. Now for my picks of the week. Last week I went 4-1 on my picks. The only pick I did not get correct was Drake beating Loyola Chicago on Saturday. Yes, I could use a technicality and say they beat Loyola Chicago on Sunday, but no, I did not pick the Sunday game. I did pick the Saturday game, so I got that one wrong. I went 4-1 last week. I now have a record of 14-7 on the season. Not bad if I say so myself. But this week we have 5 good games to pick from. First one is Monday night tonight. You got Florida State versus Virginia. Florida State has won 23 home conference games in a row. I do think that comes to an end tonight. I think Virginia's a really solid team, plays really good defense as usual, and Virginia will get it done against Florida State. Next, you got Texas, Oklahoma. I remember this game was a couple weeks ago. I did pick Oklahoma, and Oklahoma did win, but I think this is a different team. I think Oklahoma right now is overachieving a little bit, and they're going to come back down to earth against Texas this week. I do think Texas will win this game. Next is Iowa and Wisconsin. Wisconsin's reeling a little bit. I think should have beat Michigan yesterday, had a terrible second half, got outscored by 20 points, and Iowa's playing pretty good basketball, so I do think Iowa will win this ball game. Next is Virginia Tech versus Florida State. Virginia Tech did not play last week, I believe, due to COVID, and Florida State, I think, is a really good team, and even though I do think they are losing to Virginia on Monday, I do think they will beat Virginia Tech this coming Saturday. Lastly, our best game of the week is going to be Michigan versus Ohio State. 2 heavyweights that are going to battle it out. 2 really good teams, though I do think Michigan is the better team, and I think Michigan will win. I think this game also has some consequences for who will possibly be a 1 seed come March. I think the loser of this game, it's not going to be a bad loss unless they get blown out. Who knows what will happen? But I do think another loss on the resume for Ohio State will hurt them and knock them down from the 1 line come March. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this content. I'm also releasing a lot more college basketball videos as well as bracketology videos. So be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications if you want to see those videos. So thank you for watching. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, like, and comment if you have any questions or any new videos you might want to see. Thank you for watching, and this is Wesley from Core 4 Sports.